Hey, ABC, it's Greeno. I felt like making a video. We'll do an update here. It's maybe a long one. A few new things in, a lot of what's been spinning, some odds and ends here at the beginning, metal vinyl, non-metal vinyl at the end. So just a little bit of everything. So kick back, jump into it. What's playing in the background, if you can even hear it. I don't think I'll get popped for it, but still, keep it low. Just got this in today. Joker, cool deal. And this is a cool deal, man. This is killer. It's a reissue of an album from 1992. These guys were out of Chicago. And I think original pressings of this go for a little bit of money now. Original CDs or whatever. But they just reissued it. It's on Red Light. Red Light Records. Yeah, Red Light Records. But very cool. And they sound just like they look. It's from 92. They were late. But it's that glam metal, MTV metal, hair metal, whatever you want to call it. Really cool, man. Really good. If you dig that stuff, you definitely want to check these guys out. It's out there floating around. I got this one on Amazon. I listened to it one time all the way through, and as soon as I got done, I was like, holy crap. Got to give George a heads up. He's going to love this. And sent him a text, and of course, you know, hey, I already ordered that, dude. Should have it pretty soon. It's like, of course you did. We both think the same way, dig the same stuff. It's crazy. Speaking of George, he just did a nerd alert, and he was showing some cars where Hot Wheels and that kind of stuff, where he collects the Batman TV show car. Thought I would show you this real quick. I just got this for Christmas last year. Basically just showing this for George. I thought he would dig it. It's like, it says it's 9 1/4 inches long. I think it's just plastic. I've never had it out of the box, but it has the figures in it, Batman and Robin in there. Pretty cool. I found that cheap somewhere. Told the wife I want that for Christmas, so she grabbed it. Last odds and ends here before we jump into the vinyl. Got a new book. I'm currently reading the 2 thrash books that Pop Off just put out. Finished the first one, and I'm on to the second one. So when I finish that, I'll be jumping into this book. I just kind of stumbled across this on Amazon. I had no idea it was even coming out. It's called Damn the Machine, the story of Noise Records. The metal label out of Germany. Pretty big book. Pretty cool, man. I mean, there's just black and white pictures and that kind of stuff in here. So I'm going to find something cool. Yeah, along with the text and everything. But can't wait to dive into this, man. I got one more thing to show before we get into the records. Our youngest daughter and her husband gave me this. Very cool. So it'll be going up in the music room. It's like on a tin, and it's basically cassettes. But there's some cool stuff in here, you know, Rat, Metallica, along with Men at Work, and Prince. Just total kind of 80s thing, man. Very cool. If you guys are watching, thanks. I'll be putting it up in the music room. Alright, let's get on to the records. Alright, let's get into it. A couple weeks ago, I got a text from brother Scott Waters. And he was asking about the if I was interested in some of those Ultimatum reissues. And basically I was like, yeah, but I'm really trying to be a good boy right now and not order a bunch of stuff. So maybe somewhere down the line. And he's like, nah, I was going to send them to you if you're interested. And I'm like, well, hell yeah, dude, you know. And that's what he did. Totally appreciate it, brother. Kind of out of the blue. And I've been, you know, watching Scott show him, talk about him, see him on Facebook and that kind of thing. And it's like, man, I wanted to get him. But like I said, I've been really trying to be good here this summer and kind of chill out a little bit and get caught up on the just-in piles and that kind of thing. But what Scott sent was Ultimatum Into the Pit. And this is the those Rocks reissue deals. And they are on colored vinyl. This one is limited to 150. It's number 124 of 150. I just got these in towards the end of last week, I think it was. And Puppet of Destruction. And same deal, limited to 150, and this is number 30. What's kind of cool, Scott threw extra record label, the stickers, the center rings, in and signed them. I guess he's heard me voice my opinion on autograph stuff, which is totally different with Scott because he's a friend, and he being in a band like this, he autographed me totally cool. But he autographed the center rings that he sent, which is cool too. So happy to have those, man, big time. And he also sent a couple CDs. This is the 15 Years of Metal. It's a Rocks comp. And he sent, it's still sealed, brand new, Savage Wisdom. I've seen him talk about this, and I think I kind of remember him playing this in a video, like maybe in the background or just playing a clip and digging it. So I'm excited to check this out. Again, I haven't had him in very long, and I haven't got a chance to get to him yet, which might be tonight, actually. But thanks, Scott. Totally appreciate it. I sent Scott a couple of things, and one of them was totally wrong, had the wrong record in it and everything, but it worked out really cool. It actually went through 4 VC members, counting me, and ended up in a VC member in another country in his collection. So hopefully Scott will tell that story. I'll kind of leave it there. All right, I got this. I don't know, maybe a couple months ago. I've never come across an affordable copy of this in a while in good condition. So the reissue, I thought I'd go ahead and jump on it. It's Jaguar Power Games. This is on back on black, red vinyl. Very cool. New wave traditional heavy metal. I'm sure most people watching this or watching me for metal know about this album. Pretty well known. Early 80s. I got this a month or two back also. Got their first album to come out on High Roller, really dug them. And saw the new one was coming out, and it was on Amazon for an affordable price, so I went ahead and grabbed it. It's a new one from Heavy Tagger, Glitter. They're a 3-piece, all female. They remind me kind of like a more poppy kind of Helicopters, towards the end of the Helicopters, that kind of thing. With like, I don't know, if there's some Joan Jett or something like that. It's just really good rock with hooks. This is a very cool band and worth checking out. I mean, they're just, they got that Joan Jett attitude, just rock and roll. Really cool band. One just put out the spin. McCoy, Think Hard. Here's McCoy. Was it John McCoy, I think? Yeah, John McCoy. Bass player. I think he played with Ian Gillan. He was in one of his bands. He went on to be in Mammoth. This band actually, and Mammoth had Nicky Moore, the singer from Samson. This band actually has Paul Samson in it. Hopefully you can see him there. And it's a cool album, actually. It has its moments. There's definitely a couple songs on here I could do without. But overall, cool album. Man, I can't remember where these dudes were from. But I think this originally came out around 2005, somewhere in there. And I got the CD when it originally came out. But I saw when it was getting released on vinyl. I had to grab it. I think this was last year, beginning of this year. I can't remember. But it's Insane with Wait and Pray. And this is kind of what it looks like. It's kind of that pretty much Slayer worship, like early kind of Slayer stuff. But a little reined in. It's a good album, man. These guys are very cool, very much worth checking out. I don't think they ever did anything else. I think this was like the one album, like I said, back in 2005 or whatever it was. Next, reissue of Nasty Savage. I have an original of this, but saw the reissue come out, and this was back in spring, I think, early spring. So went ahead and grabbed it. You know, nice metal blade reissued. Very well done. And very cool album. These dudes were out of Florida. Is that right? Next, this is the lesser of the two Rothschilds. It's Rotschild UK Stack Attack. And this one, this copy is green vinyl. If I can get it out here. Heavy Metal Records. Here's the back. These dudes were like a heavy glam kind of thing. And to be honest, I don't pretend to know a lot about them, because as a kid I almost pretty much boycotted them because of Rotschild America. It was from my area, you know, and they were Rotschild, and they'll always be Rotschild to me. But because of the Rotschild in the UK, they sued Rotschild, which kind of rightly so. You know, they had the name first probably, or they definitely had releases out first. So Rotschild America didn't, I guess, do their homework, and it held Rotschild America up for a couple years getting their debut album out because of that lawsuit. And I think they could have done better if it wasn't for that lawsuit. You know, they were just a hair behind releasing that album. Next, this is from Heads Up from LJ. Send me a link, so man, you gotta check this band out, or this album out. It's pretty cool. And it's Witch Tower, Hammer of Witches. These guys are out of Spain, and I believe this is last year maybe it came out. Of course, there's no year on it. I hate when they do that. But very cool, new wave of traditional heavy metal on the new wave of British heavy metal side. They kind of have that sound. It's not like a perfect album. There's definitely a song or two on here that, you know, could have been better. But overall, this is a very cool album and a cool band. They have, I think, one other album. The debut was 3-4 years ago. I'd like to track down a copy of that at some point. Next, actually, when I ordered the Witch Tower, where I ordered from, threw in a copy of the newest High Healer, which, shit, I can't remember the name of it. Force and Finesse. And can't remember where these dudes are from either. Should do homework on this stuff, or prepare anyways for the videos. But here's a picture. Total 80s worship. Very cool band. They had an EP out before this album that smokes. I mean, and totally looks like something that was released in the 80s, like scary. Like if, you know, you could be out, if you didn't know and was out digging and came across it, a beat up copy, you might think you just found like an obscurity from the 80s. It's really good. This is okay. It's a little more polished. It's not the greatest, to be quite honest, but definitely worth checking out. I was kind of hoping for more from that album, to be honest, but hey, they killed it on the EP. Next, just another one I pulled out to spin. Victory Culture Killed the Native. It's a German band. Had, you know, several albums out. There's the inner. This one comes with a big poster that folds out. It's the limited edition version, which is basically just a picture of the band, which is really cool. You know, not a picture or not a poster of the cover or anything like that. But very good album, man. In that melodic rock, MTV kind of sound. Yeah, hadn't listened to this forever, man. Really dug it. Another German band, Virgin. Killer cover. They're on Skyfire, which has a killer center ring for the label. Love that. Looks like kind of that blue collar, early 80s, mid 80s metal, which is kind of what it is, but it's on the wimpier side, to be quite honest. Not the best. And then they do a cover of All Day and All of the Night, which really wasn't needed. But again, a cool record to have for the collection. not the greatest record by any means. Next, a live album from Lucifer, Bulldozing It True. And I think this is from, damn, I can't remember now, 2011, from the Keep It True Fest. And Lucifer, I've talked about him before. Label. Talked about him before. Japanese band. The main dude is the singer, who's the guy from Sabbath, the Japanese band, which is kind of like a Venom-y kind of band. But with Lucifer, it's full on 80s, you know, heavy metal this, heavy metal that, man. Very cool stuff. Well, they have 3-4 studio albums and all kind of other little weird stuff. Kind of one of these bands that they put out a lot of little small pressing releases. Yeah, almost like a Helicopters kind of band. You can really dig in and collect a lot of stuff from those dudes. Next, just pulled this out, spin it, because I haven't heard for a while. I freaking love this album. Hallows Eve, Death and Insanity. This is a classic 80s underground metal album, man. Just Death and Insanity alone, just that song is fantastic. And these guys out of Atlanta, I think. What was the year on this? Like 85, 86. I remember having this on cassette back in the 80s. Yeah, eventually found the vinyl. I freaking love that. A couple reissues from the last month or two. And I talked about them in the last video. I've been grabbing some of the Maiden reissues. Got No Prayer for the Dying. And this is, was this 1990, 91? 1990. There's the inner. These reissues are fantastic. Black vinyl. They sound great. I haven't had any issues yet. I had a scuff on one of them. I think it might have been the Rock and Rio. But it played fine. Didn't hear anything. So. But very nicely done. And to be honest, this was kind of the last, and it was only half and half for me, Maiden that I paid attention to for a while. Then, you know, they got into the 80s and Bruce left and blah, blah, blah. So, or excuse me, into the 90s. And actually I'd like to pick up those other couple albums without Bruce, but I'm on the fence about it because, I don't know, I didn't like him back then. I don't know if I will now, but I kind of like him for the collection. It's a sickness. So, but again, I didn't pay attention to him in the 90s, you know, just, I don't know, they were going in a different direction for me. And then I heard Bruce was coming back, and they put this album out, Brave New World, and this album smokes, man. This is, for me, as good as the classic 80s stuff, but this is the only one, you know. Everything since this album has been cool. It's been Maiden. Very cool. They're putting out something. They're still trying to do it. They're touring, kicking ass, but it just doesn't hold up, you know, for me. But this album does. This album's fantastic. I was super happy to get it on black vinyl. A year or two ago, I stumbled onto an original pressing with which is a picture disc, which I was beyond happy to pick up, but super happy to get it on black vinyl where it sounds better. Next out of Spain is Hittin', State of Shock, and this is their last album, or latest release, I guess you could say, or should say. That new wave traditional heavy metal kind of deal. Very cool band. Brother Renee turned us on to Hittin', yeah, back in the day. Definitely dig them. Next is Northwest Metalworks, Volume 1. And another VC member turned me on to this label. It's Northwest Metalworks. And they're out of the Northwest here in the U.S. And they are basically specializing in hard rock and metal from the Northwest, from the 70s and 80s. And this is a comp. You know, you get stuff out of Washington State and Oregon and that kind of thing. But this one has Heir Apparent, Taste of Iron, Whiskey Sticks, which I picked up a full length by them. They're a 70s hard rocky kind of band, kind of a deep purple-ish kind of thing. Outrage, Assault and Battery, Glacier, Overlord, Cruella. Cruella, their Northwest Metalworks is getting ready to release their one album, or they just did actually. This is basically, I think, just one dude, and he's definitely slow. He's putting out stuff slowly, you know, getting everything together, but he's very much worth paying attention to if you dig this kind of stuff and checking out, you know, his reissues. I've got several now, and they've all been fantastic. And this comp is highly recommended. Very, very cool. Looks like there was 500 of them pressed. And you just Google Northwest Metalworks with an X, and it'll come up. You can go to the website and order direct. Next, the first Mama's Boys, Plugged In. I mean, I hadn't heard this forever either. Just kind of pulled it out. It's got a cool label, Ultra Noise. Hopefully you can see that. But this has Needle in the Groove. Yeah, killer song. They're kind of lumped in there, I guess, a little bit with that new wave of British heavy metal. They're not really... They're kind of hard rocky, songwriter kind of guys, more so than just full-on metal. But, and if you've heard Mama's Boys, hopefully you understand what I'm saying. You get where I'm coming from. But a very cool band, and, you know, this album especially, dig that. And I think that is it. One more. Put out another comp, Hell Comes to Your House. This is a Music for Nations comp from like 84. Yep, 1984. Very cool comp with a great cover. Almost looks like a Hammer, old Hammer horror movie kind of cover. But this has Manowar, Exciter, Anthrax, Earthshaker, Hellion, Loudness, Metallica, Hellstar, The Rods, Tsunami, Earthshaker, and Alaska. I didn't notice Earthshaker's on here twice. I didn't notice that before. But love the old comps. All right, that's it for the metal. Let me grab the non-metal stuff. Okay, for the non-metal stuff, I don't think I've shown much non-metal for a while. And what tends to happen is on Sundays, for some reason, I don't play as much metal, if any. And when I'm down here in the music room, Sundays is when I start pulling out odds and ends and just, you know, playing whatever. I don't know why. I've just fell into that habit a while back and kind of continue it. So when I can get down here on a Sunday, usually it's really early in the morning for a few hours, I'll play some records. So this is probably from the last couple months or something like that. I don't know. And they're kind of in the order they were played, except in reverse order here. First up is an original pressing of the Ramones' Mondo Bizarro. Freaking love this album, man. What year was this? 92. This is with CJ. You know, Dee Dee had left the band. And CJ sings two or three songs on here and sounds fantastic. You know, just classic songs like My Main Man and all that. Just really good album. And I found, or came across that, God, it's been 10 years ago on vinyl, probably about 10 years ago. I'm super happy to find it. Next, and pretty much all this stuff is, you know, maybe a couple were out of the Just Impiles, but most of it come out of, you know, just pulling out of the collection to listen to. This was in the Just Impiles. And it's Deadboys. And this is just a 2-song, 12-inch from like the late 80s. 1987 on Relativity. And the songs are All the Way Down, Poison Lady, The Nights Are So Long. So, it's kind of cool. I can't remember where I came across that or how long ago. next, like I said, I get in these weird moods on Sundays, so pulled out some Chuck Berry after school session. And this is one of those chess reissues from back in the 80s, I believe. Love Chuck Berry. I mean, how can you not? Got into a little bit of blues. Boss of the Blues, B.B. King on Kent. And reissue of Sam and Dave, Hold On, I'm Coming. This was in a Just In pile. I picked this up a year or two ago. I love Sam and Dave, but I'd never come across a good copy of this one until I found this reissue for like 10, 11 bucks somewhere. Nicely done. Sounds fantastic. If you've never checked out Sam and Dave, holy crap. You know, the Blues Brothers, just all that music in the Blues Brothers is pretty much what Sam and Dave sounds like. So next is Jimmy Castro Bunch, E-Man Groovin'. Is that right? Yeah, E-Man Groovin'. And this was an upgrade from a while back. Finally spun it. Sounds cool. Pulled this out. Shaky Jake Harris, The Devil's Harmonica. And when I got this was sealed back in the day. And I can't remember how long ago it was I picked this up, but it's a white label promo on Polydor. This kind of, I mean, it still has the shrink and everything, and having this, you know, blurb thing on here kind of sucks, but I don't want to take it off for some reason. Okay album. I think it was produced by John Mayall. Yeah, if I remember right. And he may even be on there a little bit. It's okay. It's not the greatest blues album. Next, Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings. Give the people what they want. Fantastic soul, modern recordings, but sounds like that old, you know, 60s, 70s kind of stuff. Sadly, I think she just passed away not long ago. But, yeah, anybody into soul knows her, I'm sure. Spun some Howlin' Wolf, The Backdoor Wolf. And this is a newer reissue on Chess. I got this, I don't know, late last year sometime. And back in the winter, I picked up a bunch of James Brown reissues, real cheap, still sealed. And slowly, you know, been listening to them every once in a while. I'll pull a couple out. I probably picked up like 15 of them or something. But this is Hot Pants. James Brown. We all know James Brown. Next, Jimmy McGriff. The Worm. Freaking love Jimmy McGriff. Kind of new to him, but checking him out. Everything I've heard so far I dig. And this is, I think, an original on Solid State. And I think this has been reissued. They're out there floating around. A lot of his stuff's been reissued. Just like Sharon Jones, you have Charles Bradley. Victim of Love. Same deal. He kind of come up, or became known around the same time as Sharon Jones, I guess. I've seen some video, like a documentary kind of about him, where he was a James Brown impersonator, and you know, what is it, Dap King or Dap Tone, whatever the label, those guys kind of stumbled across him, and he blew their minds, and so they started recording with him. Very cool stuff. And it's not James Brown sounding, it's just good soul stuff. Yeah, really cool. And finish it out, compilation, Stacks of Funk, The Funky Truth. This is a 2 LP compilation of Stax releases, recordings. A lot of stuff I don't even know. And I'm just like jazz with the soul and the funk. I'm dipping my toe in and checking it out, and, you know, digging everything so far. And this was a newer reissue, I think, from just a few years back. But very cool. Alright, VC, that's it. Hopefully, I don't know what this is going to come in at. 40 minutes or something, probably. So, cut it off here. I hope everybody's doing well. Thanks to all the new subscribers and old subscribers. And I guess we'll see you in the next video here in 3 or 4 weeks. Later, VC.